Security Housing Unit, or SHU, is the largest in the state of California and holds the worst of the worst inmates. Robert Glenn is no exception, though ironically, his prison history all began with one nonviolent crime.
I came to prison for grand theft auto. I got sentenced to 3 years.
But instead of simply doing his time and going home, Robert has assaulted more than a dozen inmates, lengthening his original sentence.
Because of all them assaults, my points again rose to a level 4 inmate. And the classification committee decided to give me a indeterminate SHU term. And they set me up with an Aryan Brotherhood member. And that began my life for the prison gang.
The Aryan Brotherhood exploited his violent nature, using Robert to carry out their dirty work.
Prison gang involved everything from stabbings, killings, drugs, weapons, whatever needed to be done, I did it.
We warn you, the detailing of his violent acts is extremely graphic.
There was an inmate that came up to the tier. He was accused of raping a woman out on the streets. Because I was up and coming in the gang at that time, it fell to me to either make another inmate kill him or I myself kill him. I chose to kill myself. If I didn't kill this guy, or if I didn't have this guy killed, then I myself would be killed. That's how the prison gang system works. So me and 2 friends of mine, fellow gang members, went into his cell to play cards with him. The plan was for his partner in Pinocchio to lose on purpose to get him down to do push-ups. But when he got down to do his push-ups and I put my hand on his back and applied a little pressure, that was my excuse to get up next to him. At which time I put my arm around his throat, kind of choked him out a little bit to make him, kind of weak. But he wasn't dead yet because I wanted him to feel exactly what was going to happen to him. I didn't want him to make a lot of noise because the CO is about 15 cells towards the front of the tier. So he could have heard me at any time. Another inmate passed me a razor shank. I sliced his throat repeatedly. Blood was everywhere. And then another inmate passed me a shank, probably about that long, with the handle on it. And I just started stabbing him. Stabbed him over 100 times. In the back, the sides, the neck. He was crying, telling me to stop, begging for me to stop. He was still alive through all of it. That was one of my favorite ones right there. Because he was a rapist, and I despise rapists. I cannot stand them. Child molesters, rapists, the worst.
In spite of his love of violence, Robert eventually grew tired of the gang politics and decided to drop out. He was transferred to the sensitive needs yard.
They thought that all SNY meant we're all equal. It's not the case. They set me up with a convicted child molester. He molested his sister between the ages of 8 and 14. So a couple of days later, I dealt with it. I tore my boxers apart, took all the string out, twisted it up, braided it up, and on either end, I put a slip knot, and then rolled up 2 socks to where it was kind of a good grip, and the string fits in the middle. I waited one night while we were watching TV. I picked a fight with him. Once he stood up, I put him in a little chokehold. He was already passed out. I had put the garrote around his neck and killed him. I put my foot on the back of his head and put the string over his head and just started sawing away. Wasn't doing it as quick as I wanted to, and so I just quit. And I just picked him up and put him on his bunk and left him there. Next morning, I went out to chow, ate, came back to my cell, and waited. I feel a lot of anger towards CDC for selling me up with this inmate. I had a release date. 2019, I was going home, but also I take responsibility for my actions, I could have very well just beat the guy up and forced the cell move that way. I chose to kill him. I enjoy hurting people.